Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker. I'm an author, producer, 2-time Emmy Award winner, and host of That Girl the Podcast. Each week, I bring on inspiring people and stories to help you become that girl or that guy in your life. That Girl the Podcast is based on the romantic comedy That Girl a Novel, which is now available as a podcast to listen to. Listen to each chapter about finding yourself and adulting in LA. Find That Girl a Novel everywhere you listen to your podcasts. You can also find it on Amazon to buy the Kindle or paperback of. For more, find us at thatgirlthepodcast.com and follow us on Instagram at thatgirlthepodcast and our Patreon page.
Well, thank you, Johanna White, and welcome to That Girl the Podcast. I like to let people introduce themselves because I always feel like we do a better job of introducing ourselves than I ever could. So, in brief, just tell people who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into the podcast.
Sure. And do you prefer Jackie or Jacqueline?
Jackie.
Okay. Well, Jackie, my name is Johanna White, but to keep from confusing people, I go by Jo because...
Smart. I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
How could you? It's spelled with a J. It's totally confusing. So I am the owner and founder of Design by Jo. I help people build their better brand through brand identity design and visual brand strategy. My background is in graphic design, so that is the lens through which I deliver these services to my clients. And I do that because I am passionate about taking people who are the best at what they do. They have the best product or the best service, but they don't stand out from the crowd. They look like everyone else. And so they're a best kept secret in business, and no one knows that their flippin' amazing thing needs to be had. And so I love to go in and find out what makes them so amazing and create a visual brand that lines up with their quality so that the world can see them for as good as they truly are.
I love that. That was like the most succinct, perfect answer. And that's something I think a lot of people have difficulties with because not everyone is, visually, artistically gifted. We can sometimes see something and be like, oh, I recognize that that's nice, but we can't do it for ourselves, nor would we know even where to begin. So speaking of beginnings, let's talk about you were working for an agency, correct, as a graphic designer that you were really miserable in and wanted to leave. And we've all been there. I've certainly been there. Where you're just like, what am I doing with my life? Oh my God, how do I get out of this situation? And you really wanted to leave. So let's start it there and tell us what happened.
Sure. So first, I'm not going to name names because...
Smart. I don't either.
But if anyone who knows me from my past, we worked together, I'd like to say you were probably awesome. It wasn't you. So I was working in an environment where technically I was doing what I liked, design, but in ways that never felt like they mattered. The sky was always falling. People were always getting fired and rehired, and there was super high employee turnover. And a lot of what I did at that time was related to print. And again, the sky was always falling. Print is dead.
Right.
And
I've been saying that for 20 years since I was in school for journalism. They're like, print is dead. I'm like, wait, what? Okay.
And instead of asking what's next, how can we better serve clients? It was just this room full of Eeyore the donkeys, like, you're just lucky to have a job. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? The design market is flooded. Don't even bother looking elsewhere. You're lucky to barely get paid and be underappreciated because, well, at least you're not on the street.
Wow, that is a fun environment to work in. Yeah,
right?
You must have been doing your best work.
So I was shining.
Oh my gosh, just thriving.
And so actually I had been there for about 3 years, and I was starting to go, okay, I know there's some more out there. I'm going to start looking for the next great job. And in my mind at that time, it was just another agency, but maybe they had a better environment, or I could just picture it a little better.
Right.
And and then in 2014, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. It just happened overnight. I woke up one day with extreme migraines that lasted for 4 days and were so intense. I was sleeping in a closet because I couldn't handle a pinprick of light.
Right.
And when that went away, I was left with pretty extreme symptoms down my left side, some partial paralysis, vocal cord paralysis, soft palate issues. I couldn't swallow. Food came out my nose instead of going down my throat, which you don't want to eat Oreos when you're in that situation. They really hurt coming out your nose.
That does sound miserable.
Painful. Miserable, confused. At that point, I didn't know what it was. I started to go to all these different doctors and they bounced me one to the next. And then finally, I ended up at a neurosurgeon who put the pieces together, did MRIs and CAT scans, and called me while I was alone at work late at night, like 8 o'clock. So I knew it wasn't good. And he said, we found a mass. I don't know much about it. You know, we can't say it's this or that. We don't know if it's cancer or benign. Just that, you know, you need to come back and we need to do more. And I remember asking him, am I going to die? Like, you're calling me, it's late. Does this mean it's like on the show House where you're not going to sleep until you solve this, or what's about to happen?
I love your sense of humor with this too.
I've found that laughter is a great medicine, and you can choose joy in any situation. And that is something that no illness can take away.
Absolutely. So you go to the doctor. Right.
So I get this call. I go to the doctor. It begins a long series. It's not like House, by the way. They totally sleep at night, and they say, come back in 6 months and another doctor will decide if he wants to work on you or not. And I'm thinking 6 months, right? Wow. I'm thinking brain tumor, hurry.
Urgent.
If that's not urgent, what's urgent?
Right.
So it began a really long road from doctor to doctor. They would think they could help me. Then they would say, actually, it's too risky. I thought I could do a gamma knife, but no, we've only done that on people who are in their 80s. We don't know the long-term this. Maybe it would take a benign and make it cancerous, et cetera.
Wow.
And so it's kind of repeat. And, but then there was the good part of that story happening at the same time, more under the surface. So I have to rewind a little bit back to just after getting diagnosed. And the first time the doctor said, we don't know how much time you have left. We don't know. I sat up, I looked around, and I said, if I don't know how much time I have left, I know I have not come anywhere close to living up to my potential.
Right.
And it's now or never. And so instead of trying to find some next step at a next agency and slowly work my way towards the shining career that I could love someday, I said, I'm going to do this now. So with only 8 hours of promised work on the clock, I quit my job and started Design by Jo. And it was not, I'm not going to lie and say it was an overnight success. It was learning and growing the whole time. But luckily I had great people in my life who were entrepreneurs and business owners, and they dropped books in my lap like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And, and you know, I had gone to school twice already, gone to college to train horses. And then I'd gone to college for graphic design. And I did not want to go back to college for business, especially since I felt like I was on a major clock. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to learn streetwise. I'm going to get some business street smarts, just do this thing. And it's funny, when you don't have much left to lose, because you don't know how long you have, you will take much better risks and get much better rewards than taking it slow and careful. And I had spent the first 24 years of my life overthinking everything. Major decision paralysis. I went to college twice because I couldn't decide which thing I would like. And between the two times of going to college was a 3-year gap where I did a job I totally hated, not in a related field at all, because I was so afraid of making yet another wrong choice. And I just had this fear that decisions were the end. They weren't reversible. They would set me irrevocably on a path that I couldn't come back from or forever. I'd always this thought that I had to know right now what forever looked like and carefully.
That's so relatable. I think especially with school and that you did school twice, that is such a relatable feeling. Or starting a new business, it's like, okay, well, this is it. Like I'm pouring everything into it. Like it just has to work. And we'll keep going. But I just think that is such a perfect thing to say and like to let people know. Cause it is, it takes a while and keep going.
Well, it's definitely a nugget that I realized then and there. Like there are so many things that if you just make any decision, it can be turned to your good. And even bad circumstances, like I would never wish a brain tumor on anyone. But looking back, I'm so thankful that it happened to me because so many things were set in motion. I forced myself to take the leaps to say, I'm tired of just being mediocre when I know I'm capable of more. It's not like I'm doing the best I can and I'm not the bestest ever. It's like, frick, I know I could be flipping amazing and I am coasting, not even trying. And that sucks.
Yeah. And that's such a relatable feeling as well. It's like, when people know that they're in a position and it is difficult and they're really trying their hardest, like, you know it, you feel it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm giving everything. But when you're in a position or a job that is just not for you or a company that is just not for you, you are coasting. You do feel there is more. Thankfully, you did have a brain tumor that was like, and this is your time. This is your moment. What advice do you have to people who are, I don't even want to say lucky, but who are not lucky enough to have a brain tumor, who are like, live your life now. And they're just kind of in that analysis paralysis and they can't make a decision. And they're just like, what should I do with my life? What kind of advice do you have for that?
I would tell them that certainty is an illusion. And you might not have anything wrong with you. And I don't want to be gloom and doom. I think you have a lot of life to live. But you could die tomorrow in a car accident or trip and fall down the stairs or something stupid. We get this idea that being in a 9-to-5 job or being 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that. But being in just any job or any circumstance or any relationship that if at least it feels certain.
Yeah.
So I'm secure, and security is worth the loss of potential. And so I would tell them there's no such thing as certainty. That was the thing I wanted the most from the doctors, was for them to be like House, read me my chart, tell me exactly what was wrong with me and how we were going to deal with it so that I could follow their path and then move on with my life, because I'd be certain that it was done, it was taken care of, it was over.
Right.
I never got that. They never operated on me. They said it was too risky. And in the end, after like 3 years of hopping to different doctors, they finally said, we're not going to operate on you unless the symptoms put you in a wheelchair, pretty much, because we're afraid that's what the surgery could do. And so, but at the same time, that earlier journey that I mentioned, the underlying path was, I had a friend in my life who was there just when I needed him. He showed up on my doorstep the day after I was diagnosed, handed me his favorite Bible and said, Johanna, you have said your whole life that you believe. You've said that you believe in God, you believe in healing. And this is my lens and my story. And I just he said, this is your chance to stand on what you believe. And stop looking at examples of people who said they believed and it didn't happen for them, because you don't know their story. Right. You don't know anything about that. You don't need to focus on the examples of who failed, what didn't work. You just need to pick even one verse that says it's possible. Say it out loud. Start talking like it. Start standing like it. And so I thankfully took his advice. I picked my favorite verses that I felt like related to healing in any way or just to me, that meant something to me. And there's one in, I'm really bad at references, so I can't even tell you where in the Bible
Me too,
it is.
Actually. I'm terrible.
But the gist of it is, it says, if you live by the flesh, you will die. But if you by the Spirit choose to put to death the misdeeds of the flesh, you will live. And the way I interpreted that in that moment was that the flesh was the 5 senses that I'm really aware of: see, taste. Like I can see on this MRI, it says there's the tumor. Therefore, I'm going to feel these symptoms and experience these things. Like that's the flesh. That was my knowledge in my head if I just accepted that. But then it says you can choose to live by the Spirit, put to death those rumors, those thoughts. You can tell them, I'm out. I'm not going to listen to you. There's one more level above what I can see, taste, hear, smell, and feel. It's real. It's there. And I can choose to step into that truth. And from that area, tell my body what's up instead of my body telling my mind what's what. And so I stood on that, and I started to see the symptoms reverse. I had no muscle here in my neck. The sternocleidomastoid was totally atrophied. The ones behind my shoulder looked like they'd been scooped out with an ice cream scoop. And the doctor said that would not heal because it was nerve damage, that it was irreversible, even if they removed the tumor. Yeah. And instead, I saw them come back, and now my left side's my strong side.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I saw them come back within probably the first 6 months after diagnosis. But then what happened was I'd go back for another MRI because I wanted them to prove to me what I already knew. I wanted them to show me that clean.
That's so true. We're like, okay, we get it. But like, could you just validate it one more time? Just one more time. Okay, keep going.
And instead, they'd do the scan. It'd be at a different doctor on a different machine. And so they'd say, well, we can't be certain, but we think it might actually be bigger. Or maybe it's the same. Here's a list of these symptoms you're probably going to experience soon. Like your jaw's going to expand. You're going to lose vision in your right eye, hearing in your left ear, facial paralysis. They very helpfully, so that they didn't get sued later, I guess, list all of these things.
I would be like, don't tell me. Just don't tell me. I'd rather not know.
That's the other advice I would give people, whether it's in business or in medical. Like, I'm for doctors. I think they do great things. Yeah. But I don't think that we should take the doctor's word as the last word, especially if it's, you're going to die and there's no hope for you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so
totally
when I
agree,
when I realized that every time I went back, they'd show me on paper what was true in the flesh, what they saw, but it wasn't lining up with what my body was doing. It was healing. Mm-hmm. But I then would stop trusting what I saw in my body and felt and knew. And I'd go, well, crap, it's still there. It might even be bigger. And then I'd leave that appointment. And the next day my face would be swollen and I'd start feeling all these symptoms and I'd have the splitting migraine again. And like symptoms would start to come back because your body accepts what you tell it.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Oh, keep going. So good.
And so finally, when I went to that last one, and thank God the surgeon refused to operate on me, because at that point my symptoms were almost gone, but I just wanted that certainty. I didn't even care anymore. I wanted to be done with this journey. I wanted to move on with my life, not be the girl with the brain tumor, be the girl who's moving on. And he refused, and I left just frustrated, like, couldn't have refused 6 months ago instead of when I'm on the operating table at 5 a.m.
That's when it happened?
They actually signed me up for surgery, said, come back in 3 months, prepare to quit your work afterwards because you're going to have a month of recovery, find a place to stay with family, all of this stuff. Wow. Those 3 months went by. I had friends travel from across the country to be there with me. Oh my gosh. We were all in the room. He's got the anesthesiologist next to me, ready to put me out. And he meanders in, looks at my chart again and goes, I've changed my mind. I'm not doing this. And I was mad.
Oh, I would imagine you would be very angry. Just the stress alone. Oh my gosh. And then what happened?
Well, that turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. I screamed, I cried, I ranted a little. Then my family and friends grabbed me and we went to breakfast at this little place near the hospital.
You just went to breakfast. You're like, well, I was going to get a brain tumor out, but instead we went to brunch.
And granted, I'm still red, angry, crying, but we're hungry. I haven't eaten in 24 hours because I was prepping for surgery.
Yeah.
Got to be practical sometimes.
Right? Eggs are good.
And we went to this restaurant in Indianapolis near the clinic. And we were sitting at a table, freaking delicious breakfast, by the way. Patachou, if anybody is in Indy, got to go there. They don't know that I'm talking. It's not like they paid me to plug them, but they're just so good. But we went there, we were sitting around the table talking, and someone sitting at a table behind us overheard the conversation. And he said, "Excuse me." And this was on a Saturday. He said, "I'm a pastor here at a local church, and we're doing a series on healing. And would you want to come to our church tomorrow so that our church could pray for you?" I was like, well, sure, why not? I mean, I've been praying, everyone's been praying, but I always do it. Like, just why not? And so it was so neat to connect with that community, and which wouldn't have happened if I hadn't ended up at the hospital. And who knows how many of them found out later that I'm healed, and it maybe helped their faith or their excitement in their journey.
Absolutely.
You don't know what that doctor, maybe he follows me on Facebook. I don't know.
Well, it certainly changed his mind. I mean, yeah, it affects so many people that you'll never know, which is the most beautiful part.
But the cool thing was, once I finally decided to accept a level of uncertainty in my future and just say, I don't need that MRI. I don't need that clean scan. I don't need that paper proving what I already know, that I'm healed. Yeah. The last few symptoms cleared up and never came back.
Oh my gosh, how many years has it been since that?
Let's see. So diagnosed in 2014, I want to say it was at least 2 years, where about every 6 months I went to another surgeon. So probably 2016 was probably my last scan.
Wow.
And people say, well, is it still there? Don't you need to know? I know that I'm healed. I know that my body is working perfectly. And so I take everything that I was blessed enough to learn there and poured it into my business and said, I've got this new foundling design business. And right now I was kind of living my dream. At least I was being my own boss and starting to craft the future that I wanted. Mm-hmm. But I was still looking around and going, I'm still not maxing out my potential, not even close. I got another chance, got another lease on life. I am going to do more with this. So I was lucky enough to go to a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within conference. Nice. I don't know if
I have not been, but I watched the I'm Not Your Guru documentary that he did, and I think it is that conference. And I was like, wow, I would love to go to this. It seems kind of like a lot, like really long days, but still very worth it.
It was intense. I got a little grumpy when I first got there and realized we were going to be going from about 8 a.m. until 3 a.m.
Yikes. I couldn't do that. I cannot do that. I am not a night person. Not a night
Me
person.
neither. And I get grumpy thinking about losing sleep. But you know what? That conference cured me about that. I should say I used to get grumpy about not getting enough sleep. It was so amazing. One of the things you do during that is you walk on hot coals. Yes, and that was the least transformational part about that whole conference for me. It was so mind-blowing just being around that many other people who are determined to max out, to get everything out of life, to give everything out of life, to do more for other people, just being around 10,000 people who are ready to do what it takes to give their all, add more value, find more ways to serve better.
Yeah.
Totally mindset shift changing. I highly recommend.
Right. And even if you're not going to like a seminar like that, it's just so important to surround yourself with the people that do fuel you like that. Like you've got to have the right crew, right? You know, your tribe has to be like in line with what you're doing and who you are. And you guys are vibrating at the same frequency and you're there to support each other. And it is like a constant Tony Robbins conference. So like when one of you is down, the other one's got you and back and forth. Yeah, that's a huge part of being successful, I think, is having the right people around you. And then also saying goodbye to the people who are sucking you dry of that energy that you're giving too much to, that are the, you know, never ending well of despair. It's so important to just be like, okay, boundaries. You're not going to be that close to me anymore. So yeah, that's incredible. Okay, so you're really pouring yourself into your business. And I just love that you're using faith as your driving force, this incredible, without a doubt, feeling of if I can survive this and I can prove to myself, I can literally, with myself, my mindset, and my faith, heal my body. I can basically do anything. So let's take my business that I love and make it into as big of a business as possible, and something that just, you know, lights me on fire every day. When did you start to see that really kind of shift?
Well, I would say I had a lot of momentum when I first started it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to live or die now or never.
Right.
But momentum and inspiration, Zig Ziglar used to say, it's like a shower. You should take it daily.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a few years, I felt like I was kind of plateauing. I had grown to a certain point and I just couldn't pass it. I couldn't convince myself to charge what I was worth, or I was saying yes to every project, knowing that I could be serving certain clients better if I would just choose. And then I went to that UPW, the Unleash the Power Within conference, and they reminded us that the businesses that succeed are the ones that fall in love with their clients instead of with their products or services. And so I came home and started asking better questions and saying, how can I serve my clients better in the way that they want, or even more, need to be served? And that is how I wanted to shape my business. And then I also started asking, where do I want to be? Where's the end of, or where's my end goal for Design by Jo? Because many people who start in graphic design, I've watched them go the same path and I don't want it. They work and work and work. They get busier and busier. They start hiring on staff. They become a traditional design agency or a marketing firm. And now suddenly they're managing people who are doing the work that they actually love to do. So they've worked themselves into this managerial spot rather than the design that they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And I know several of them, several owners, even in my town, who I have lunch with them and they're like, yeah, I really miss doing the part that I loved and I gave that away and I'm successful, but I'm not happy. Yeah. And so I said, okay, how can I do this differently? What would I picture that would be different? And it was that I'm passionate about, like I said, taking someone and helping them see their potential through my lens or through the lens of branding. I'm passionate about building that visual brand that then they look at it and like seeing themselves in a mirror, they go, I'm capable of so much more growth. Now that I look like this, I'm going to level up yet again to not only make sure my clients are getting that level of amazingness, but I want to make sure they get even more value than is perceived. And it's perceived high because you made me look awesome. So that is what I'm passionate about. And I was like, what other industry could I study and find tips about how I would like my journey to go. So instead of keeping my mind in with the typical graphic design industry, I started looking at fashion and automotive and other types of designs, or even just business in general, and realized that where I want to go is to become the brand name that builds brands. Mm-hmm. And that way, sure, I might have a team under me making it bigger, but that people choose to work with Design by Jo because they know Johanna White is going to deliver this VIP branding experience that is they're going to have fun.
Yeah.
They're going to see their business in a whole new light. They're going to turn around and get so much ROI on their branding investment, because not only do I help them design, but then I help them implement it across all of their touch points. So my goal is to help them bring excellence across all touch points, because they matter. They form that cohesive emotional attachment that your customers have to your company. Hopefully, if they don't have one, call me. Right. But I was like, okay, I know I'm capable of this. I know that I can deliver an experience that is beyond what I'm seeing out here. I see in the design world a lot of disconnect. People might find a great web designer or a great graphic designer or someone to work on their messaging, but by the time it's come back from 3 different places, it feels less cohesive, mm-hmm. or they've spent even more money because they had to do it in chunks, or even worse, they didn't know what questions to ask or what to want for mm-hmm. that. They just met designers who said, tell me what I should design and I'll design it.
Right.
So I started asking the better questions of, what do my customers say they want? What do they say or what do they need, even if they don't know it? Mm-hmm. And it was someone who can see the big picture, help me put it all together, do it, like not just strategize with me and tell me that I need this, but then can you help me make what we've dreamed up, and then help me see and begin to apply it to my brand and to my business and to my customer interactions and to the way I talk about myself. And so I niched down, and I did that about 2.5 years ago. I started saying, okay, if I can't find a web design company that I want to send my clients to next, I'm going to learn how to code, and I'm going to learn how to design.
Yikes. Oh my gosh. Just learned how to code. It's so daunting.
I'm not the fastest at it, and I do have developers that I work with on most projects, but just the knowing that if they're sick that day or they're late on the deadline, I can step in and still make sure the customer gets what they were promised by when they were promised, gives me the confidence to package these VIP branding experiences and say, you're gonna turn around and say, yeah, Johanna, I worked with her. I would have paid her twice that.
So there's so many things. First, I'm so glad that you figured out what your why was, like why you're doing this in your business. Like, because what I'm hearing is that your why is really to make people feel heard and seen and create their brand in a way that they couldn't even imagine. But when they see it, they're like, oh, that's it. You saw me, you got it. And the other thing too, is that you had such clarity on where you want to go and how you want to build it. What is, and I'm sure it's still being built, it's still growing and moving and creating. But, you've had this clarity of where you want it to go. You want it to be this kind of one-stop shop of design where a client can come in and actually feel really taken care of and not lost amongst a bunch of different people. And I think that's because, my God, you have so much heart. And I, just listening to you, I'm like, I want to work with you. Like, I don't really have anything to work on right now, but like now I want to work with you because, you really care. And I think that's such a huge defining factor between you or some other agency out there that's like cold and like maybe they've got the huge name, but like, oh my gosh, what an incredible sell. And that's because you did so much work on yourself to figure out what you needed and to build that self-worth and that confidence and to really trust yourself and to trust that you've got this. Oh my gosh, it's so great. I love it. I love the way that you're building your business. I love it. What is in the future?
So many things. But first, I just want to say yes to all that you just said. That is so true. And thank you for your for your kindness. You know that you've worked with Rory Baden, and I'm working with him right now too. We're, on a side note, working on our next and more of our why. But they reminded me the other day that your perfect client is often you a few years ago. Ooh. And I think that's why I recognize them being that person who sat up and looked around and said, I know I'm capable of so much more. Mm-hmm. I have to go for this. And there were people in my life who told me that I was being overly glib when I had the tumor, that I just needed to face the fact that I was probably going to die. I needed to wrap my head around it. I was in denial. And those people are not my friends anymore.
Good.
But
good riddance.
but whether it's in life or business, there's always those Eeyores that feel like it's their job to tell you that the sky is probably still going to fall. Mm-hmm. And tamp down on your dreams. I had family members that when I announced that I was quitting and starting my own business, the only thing they said was, but honey, what about health insurance?
You can also get health insurance without an employer, just a FYI out there.
But I was so excited and I was bringing these goals, and that was what they said. So that's when I learned that proximity is power, to put myself intentionally in the paths of other people like yourself who are go-getters and passionate. And that's why my client is me 6 years ago, looking around and going, I know that I have something to offer the world and it is the best. But the world doesn't know about it because I don't know how to stand out. I don't know how to do that thing. And so I am super passionate about that because I saw what a difference it made in my life, in my confidence, in the people I'm talking to. I wouldn't be talking to you today if I hadn't started making those domino decisions earlier that I'm going to shape my brand into letting myself be seen. I was hiding behind the name and didn't want Johanna to be the face because there's haters and I would be scared and there's going to be people that don't like me or that say, well, you're like a big fraudy Christian because the MRI still said that you had a brain tumor. And if you were really confident you were healed, you just go back and get another one and prove it to me. Like,
oh my God. Okay.
Those things I was avoiding, but I'm not afraid of that anymore because once I kind of punched fear in the face during the worst of the symptoms, I would realize that if I was anxious or fearful, they almost doubled. I'd go from could breathe a little to couldn't breathe at all, laying almost passed out on the floor, choking on my own saliva. Mm-hmm. And so I had to first go, okay, I can tackle the fear. I don't know what I can do about my body, but I know I can do something about the fear. Yeah. And just began to drown it out. And then, because I couldn't shut up the voice in my head, but I could kind of drown it with other inputs. Yeah. So find other inputs, find the people you want to be, find the people you want to know, and just start like putting that in your head instead. And then when you beat the fear the first time, it gets easier and easier and easier. I like to, I saw a quote on a friend's fridge magnet. So never underestimate the power of what your fridge says. It might impact someone's life.
I love it. I'm going to put more quotes on my fridge.
Do it now. Okay. But it said, do one thing every day that scares you. And when I walked past that fridge magnet, I immediately thought, I love riding on the back of my friends' motorcycles, but I'm scared of them. So the enjoyment of the ride is lessened by the fear that I feel. I think I should solve that. So I signed up and went out and got my own motorcycle license. And because I saw that thing, I was, okay, I'm going to face the fear head on. And then I just started applying that same thing with the tumor, and then with business, and then with what's next for Design by Joe. Well, I'm going to find some more things that scare me and I'm going to do them. Yeah. I'm going to write a book, because even though I feel like there's so many people with amazing stories, maybe this one can help someone who's currently getting the last word from the doctor.
Yeah.
And change their mind about accepting that.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to be less afraid to tell my story. I'm going to become willing to be known as the expert in branding. I'm working towards it. I'm going to keep learning and growing and asking the right questions and asking my clients what they want me to do better, to serve them better, so that I'm going to stop being afraid to compete to be the best. Because if you don't compete, you can't lose, right? So,
and also, who are you competing against at the end of the day? It's really, it's just yourself, So just keep
true.
Competing against yourself to be better, because everyone's on their own journey, and that, and you can't compare. You just can't.
100% true. And that's the thing I've only realized in the last few years, is I thought the design market is flooded. I listened to the Eeyores, and it's not. There is so much abundance, and there's so much room for collaboration, and there's so many people I want to work with, and so many people that they're going to turn around and work with. Yeah. And there's so many people that need help with their design more than there are designers to help them, I think. So there is such abundance. Absolutely. And losing that scarcity mindset is key. As soon as you stop looking at opportunities as, there's only a few of them and you got to grab them. And instead you see it that opportunities multiply into more opportunities for yourself and others. Right. That's another why. It's another reason to succeed, so that I can create more opportunities for more people, or so that I can help more of them see what they're capable of through the lens of their brand, and they can step into their awesomeness and raise up more businesses to,
I love it. That's such a beautiful attitude. And in a world where people do live their lives by scarcity, I just did a video about this yesterday, that, it is so easy to get stuck in that small mindset of, how can I compete with other people, and how can I ever make it? How is my book going to be different, or my business going to be different? But the thing that I always like to remember is, when you're feeling like that, is that there really is only one you, and you are special and unique to you. And someone, like you said, is going to resonate with what you do and how you are, and it's just going to click. And not everyone needs to like you. We hear that a lot now. It's not everyone needs to like you, and that's good, because those people are supposed to go work with other people. And that is the abundance that you're talking about. It's there is a person for everyone. There are businesses for everyone. And we should be thinking more that I am just creating more opportunities and other people. And it keeps adding and adding and adding, instead of, oh no, I've got to just, like you said, just grab onto something while I can. Because if you do live like that, not only in business are you just going to drown, basically, because what is there to swim with? But in life, you're just going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until you're not existing, because who are you?
That is absolutely true. And that smaller and smaller principle, that applies to the fear too. Mm-hmm. If you choose to overcome fear just in one small way. The next day it's a little farther away and you expand yourself a little more and you find another thing that's scarier and you're growing and growing. But if you ignore it or you hide from it, you go inside your house and I'm not going to go out because everything is scary. Mm-hmm. The fear doesn't go away. It just creeps in closer and closer and closer until the most mundane things that you used to do normally are now frightening. And it's gonna keep coming. So it never stops. It's kind of like an unrelenting ocean, but you can push it back until it's so far out of your radius that you have to go hunt for things that scare you so that you can grow some more.
I love that. I was actually just thinking about kind of an analogy with the ocean last night, how when you're so when you're leaning back into your faith, and whether this is a religious or just like a spiritual kind of a like faith in the universe, whatever works for, whoever's listening, it's just faith in yourself. Whenever you're just like, okay, I'm going to lean back, it's kind of the same as the ocean as the waves come in, right? If you were to try to run towards the ocean as the wave was pulling out into the tide, there's no way you could grab it, right? There's too much to grab. Like if you can't, it's just further and further and further away from you. And I feel like that's what people do when they're coming from this scarcity mindset. They're just like, wait. And they run after something that there's no way you can grab onto. But if you just lean back and stay on the shore where the wave is going to hit you when it comes back around, it comes to you. And you're not exerting all of this busyness and all of this energy towards something that you're really supposed to let come to you. Like, you do the work, you do all that you can do, and then you allow it to come in. You allow it to just, you receive what you're supposed to receive. That's so weird that you mentioned the ocean thing, because I was literally thinking about that last night. I was like, that feels, because there's no way you can hold the ocean, right? And that's just like with life and like energy, you can't grab it if it's not supposed to come to you then.
That's a really good analogy. I like it.
Okay. Well, you're so fascinating, and I am just so excited for your future and what you're doing. Tell people how they can get a hold of you to work with you, because you really need to work with this girl. You really do.
So you can find me via my website, which is designedbyjoestudio.com. And Joe is J-O, not J-O-E. I don't know if there's one of those out there, but if they also have almost my domain, I'm going to be a little sad.
Probably not.
Designedbyjoestudio.com. Fill out the contact form. Tell me a little bit about your big dreams for your branding, and then I'll schedule a call so that I can do a brand analysis. We can see where you are, where you want to be, and come up with a design plan from there.
I love it. Thank you so much, Johanna. See, I said your name right.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you so much. This was so wonderful. I loved talking to you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I was having coffee with some awesome, inspiring ladies this morning, and I told them that I was going to be on your podcast. So we're all anxiously, really excited for your episodes to come out so that we can listen to them together.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there. Also, make sure to watch the video version on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at That Girl the Podcast.